Welcome back to 8 Spotlight, the podcast brought to you by 8 Capital, where we go startup by startup, founder by founder, and bring you the stories behind our portfolio. Today's episode is a fun one. We're sitting down with the team behind YN. How about you guys introduce yourselves, you three heads in the frame?
Yes. So, hi, my name is Gabriel Birnbaum, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of YN.
Yeah, I'm Eric. I'm the CTO. And I'm Tom, founding engineer.
Lovely. So, YN is one of the fastest growing consumer AI apps right now. What started as an experimental pivot has quickly turned into a breakout product, interactive storytelling platform where users are spending hours a day inside AI generated narratives. They've scaled to over 1 million in ARR just months after monetization, with tens of thousands of daily users and some of the most intense engagement metrics we've ever seen. But it hasn't been a straight line. From shutting down their previous company to rebuilding from scratch to handling viral growth, infrastructure breakdowns, and even botnet attacks, this team is building what they call the entertainment machine. All right, you three, let's get into it. So, you guys shut down your previous company and pivoted into what is now YN. What did you see that made you go all in on this new direction?
So, we built this we call it Can of Soup, which was one of those early AI viral breakout hits of 2023. It was a simple app. You can make AI photos of you and your friends in imaginary situations and share them. There's this like Instagram-like feed, and the hook is really simple, which is like we need to invite a friend to make a photo of them. You can imagine how that quickly spread. And Kinesoup, we did Y Combinator in the summer of 2023, and right while we were still in the batch, the app started to take off. Initially within the batch, and then within tech broadly, and then within colleges, where that was the audience that stuck around. So we ended up growing to hundreds of thousands of campuses across the United States, invite only, no marketing spend at all. And it was quite an interesting journey because Kinesoup had a great first year, as you know, apps like Be Real have and so on. But not so great second year, where growth slows down, maybe the retention isn't there, and you start to climb this uphill battle where it stops to make sense. We try to navigate around it. We try to make small alterations to the product, and then at some point we're like, this is an itch. If we're going to make small alterations, maybe we should think about big alterations. At that point, I start to write about product, what I believe about product in general. And I start to wonder, well, if we hadn't done Can of Soup in 2023, and we could have started any other company, what company we have started? A lot of things happened in 2023. It's been a big time for tech. And we became very interested in this idea of interactive stories. You had kind of these early breakout hits with character AI and Chai and so on. And this idea of you can text a character and, that is an interesting experience. We're like, well, but what if we make it not something about texting a character, but make it really an immersive storytelling experience? And that was the impetus for going all in, is that we felt that there was a new format and a new content format here that's been underexplored, and that is still very low quality, and that we would like to explore what it is. What does it mean to make it extremely high quality?
YN, as it stands, is basically a really interesting vehicle of fan fiction, or I guess it can be, but I've seen a lot of Harry Potter self-insert fics on there and other fandoms as well. But have any of you three, do you guys have prior interest in fandoms? Like, how did that come about?
We're all avid readers. Eric and Tom are avid gamers. We kind of we're all a bit shy. We've always had this experience of having a rich inner world, and reading being an expression of that. All fans of Harry Potter fan fiction. We've all read All the Young Dudes. We've all read Running on Air, these kind of breakout fan fiction hits.
Classic.
In fact, looking back, YN feels like a more natural fit for us than Kind of Soup. We are more about entertainment than about social networks. Did you grow up reading fan fiction?
I did. Yeah. I even wrote some in high school, which most people can never, ever get out of me. So congrats. And it was in the Harry Potter world. So I am familiar with this.
Is there a username?
No, no, no. I will take that with me to my grave. Thank you. But let's move on. So, when did you first realize that this was working? What were those signals looking like? When did you first realize that this could potentially turn into something big?
What do you think?
I think like almost immediately after we started building it, because we just like neither of us I think has like spent like a lot of time playing with character AI, because like all those alternatives, because if you use them, like they get boring really, really quickly. But we basically built an initial demo that was like puts you in a story. Actually, it wasn't too dissimilar how to current format looks like. Like actually was like it was a lot of learnings, but I think even the initial version that we built was actually like it just like it sucked us in. Like we started playing with it, and like both of us probably spent like 45 minutes to like an hour just like living through those like initial stories that we wrote, and was like, yeah, like this obviously needs to exist. This is like a magical experience.
I mean, as in like before you had, right? You can only talk to one character at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Especially on character AI, for example. And we have like the story-based system.
And we use like actually good models. I think like one thing that a lot of these apps fall short is that they basically are constrained by first of all, they have a giant user bases right now, but they don't monetize very well. So they're in this tough spot where they need to use really small or distilled models that are like really bad. We started out basically being like, what if we just like make it good? Like, yeah, use big models, find ways to serve them economically, and just give users like the best experience. And we started building from that. And turns out that like it's just significantly more fun to use if you have a like actually like powerful model behind it.
And I think the fandom around the app started because of that, as in like really quickly. So we got our first users. We ran $20 worth of Reddit ads, and we acquired 20 users. And that was and then we had a Discord, which is like join the Discord. And essentially they really quickly realized, well, this is a really good experience. This is a much better app than what's been out there. And I think that's quickly from there, we're like, oh, this is all right to exist. This is like that we are creating a better entertainment experience. Like we are actually pulling a thread on what this format should be. And then just working backwards on the technical side.
Very cool. So your growth has been very rapid. I assume that you scaled up from those $20 worth of Reddit ads.
But yeah, there's, a lot of our growth is organic, and it's what happens when, I mean, there are cool things because you're a content platform, and again, you're a content marketplace. People can create stories on YN and then share them. And so you have this thing that growth happens through sharing stories. Growth happens through, we shipped the first version of the app where you could both two people could play on the same story. And so
That's cool.
you have an invite flow in that. So there are all these kind of learnings that we have from Kenna Soup on how to make things really viral that we took to YN, even though it's a very different product. It's very much it's very much not a social product in many ways, but there's still a community around it, and we managed to leverage that.
You've mentioned in some of your investor updates that sometimes revenue growth has outpaced user growth at times. How do you think about balancing monetization with getting those users?
I think we are dead set on building the entertainment machine. And we're going to talk about what that means. To me, to do that, we require a lot of scale. We need to get many more people on the magical experience of interactive stories. It's still a niche. Monetization is how we get to do it. Like it gives us the right to do it. But the goal right now is essentially to be able to keep growing and to make a ton of money, to be able to have the resources to keep building that. But I think the most important thing is, can people without paying for YN still have a great experience? Like a lot of the apps out there, like you sign up as a bam paywall, and it's like, bam, would you like a paywall? I see you don't like this paywall, but would you like another paywall? And it's we don't want to do that. We like using the app. We don't want to make an app that we wouldn't ourselves use. And so that's generally, maybe I'm skirting around the question, but the view is like, it's a bit important. It's not the most important thing. Making stories extremely entertaining is the most important thing.
Well, I actually think that was a great segue because I was about to talk about the entertainment machine. So, in practice, the entertainment machine is basically creating content that kind of spawns itself. Can you go into a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So what we call the entertainment machine is a device that can, for whoever you are, can create content that entertains you. And whatever you do to it, whatever you curveball you throw at it, it adapts and makes an entertaining thing out of it. Has been depicted in media before, often ominously. You can think of the infinite jest, the entertainment, the endless TV show that just sucks you in. You have Tom Riddle's diary, but we don't think the entertainment machine is ominous. We think it's very exciting. I think maybe you have that experience of growing up. I really found that reading fiction made me a better person. I think I learned a lot about heroism from Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. Giving people the really expressive medium to live in their fictions feels really right to me. So the entertainment machine for us is like, can we create essentially an AI that is so good at storytelling and so able to tell stories in any medium, in any format, to any person, that you have this product that is self-sustaining. So before it used to be, you went on TikTok. TikTok is a content marketplace. You convince creators, you incentivize them to create good content, and you gather demand of viewers, and then you have this algorithm that serves them. And like now, you just don't need that. You just need the viewers, and the entertainment machine just delivers what the viewers want. And that's generally that's what we're building.
Cool. So, what do you think people are still underestimating about this category?
We just at the beginning. Like people don't realize this, but if you actually like work with like current models a lot, they're like quite bad at creating entertaining content, like shockingly so. I mean, you've seen this, right? You read an LLM generated article and you're like, this is the worst thing I've ever read. And now like take that at a scale of like a story that you play for like multiple hours, days, or like even months at a time. And it's like we're just at the beginning. And there's something like really, really magical here. It's like a story or like a world that you can live in. And that the only product or like the only thing out there that can deliver this. Like it's truly a unique new format that like didn't exist before.
Because I think the early audience for this is very much teenager. It's very much women. There's a general, call it, inclination to think it's silly and that it doesn't matter. And so a lot of people dismiss this as just strange. But I wouldn't bet against teenage girls defining the future of media. We had it with dancing videos. We had it with the Beatles. I think the cultural shift around interactivity is something that I think people underestimate as well.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't bet against teenage girls either. They're terrifying.
You were that way when you wrote your fan fiction, right? What was the name of the fan fiction?
Well, yeah, nice try. No, I was terrifying. Yeah, myself as a teenage girl. So, yeah, totally agree with that statement. A lot of your focus is improving the AI storyteller. So, what does improving that look like in this context? How exactly are you guys doing that?
We're training our own models. We trained our models for Soup. We're the first people that actually made AI generated photos look like you. We then trained the first ever image editing model. Also with Soup before OpenAI, before Google, and now we're doing that to train the best at entertainment. Can we make the best AI storyteller in the world? And we're working with Hollywood writers to help us define what that means. Doing crazy training stuff that can't go too much in depth. But that's the goal. We're less bullish on harness and prompt engineering. Well, I think we need to up the capacity of LLMs to be able to be really, really, really fun.
I saw that you guys were allowing people to write their own interactive stories.
Right.
So, how does that work exactly when there are LLMs involved?
Yeah, if you think about kind of like behind the prose of a book, there's
Mhm.
like the sets of rules, right? Which is like the chapters don't reveal who done it, but in the background, the author knows who was the killer. Just an example. I think what the creators are making is the set of rules, and genre and the premise and the structure. And you can say, in chapter 1, this should happen. In chapter 5, this should happen. In chapter 20, this should happen. And you can give more details or fewer details, and the engine will adapt that to a story. The reason for it is that we're very bullish on the idea of LLMs as workhorses, you know, creating the most entertaining version of an idea. But it's really hard to train an LLM to be good at what is a good concept, just because it's so zeitgeisty and that's a very human thing. I always give the example of there's this fan fiction called Running on Air, where do you know it? Okay. Essentially, forgive me, anyone listening. Draco Malfoy goes missing. Harry Potter is assigned the cold case to find him, and he ends up falling in love through the memories that he sees from the pensieve. And that I don't think an LLM could come up with that, because it's like this theme of longing, this theme of like nostalgia. A lot of the fan fiction is them driving around England, and I think this general of a trip that you're going around, I think an LLM can execute it very masterfully, and probably more masterfully than the fan fiction writer, because it's just not that well written. But the idea is fantastic, you know. And so to me, that's the balance of like why we want. And also, it's kind of fire from the gods. I think it's we all love to. I love to write, and it is hard to like write the prose, and being able to like experience your ideas out in the wild and to play with them in this new format feels really magical as well.
I love how you just actually named the fix that you're referring to. You're like, yeah, I read fan fiction. Here's a list. Okay, so you guys have experienced everything from GPU constraints to infrastructure failures as you guys have scaled. What have been the hardest technical challenges so far?
I think mostly it is just like so the biggest constraint that we have right now is like getting GPUs. Like it's a crazy market out there, and then it's like squeezing like the most we possibly can out of the GPU capacity that we have. Like we're serving an insane volume in inference. If you think about it, like an average user sends like multiple hundreds messages a day. Like this is we have like trillions of tokens a month in inference, like easily growing up, and like even like this getting more. And we basically have to do that at a insanely cheap rate. So it's just like, how do we run this company like serve like as powerful models as we serve without going basically like bankrupt? And it turns out that like there isn't that much tooling out there to do it well. Like we've been like kind of disappointed by the most of the inference providers that are out there. Like they're not built for they're all optimized for the like simplest way of like running LLMs, which is just like, take like an off the shelf inference engine like SGLang or TensorRT or whatever, run it on like a single node and just scale that up. And that's a horrible way to like serve models. It's what is out there right now. So like we had to basically like deal with that and like get GPU capacity, find a provider that has like InfiniBand, like set up inference really well, like deal with KV caching. Because for us, it's like really important, because like we have a bunch of like if you play a story, right, like 98%, like 99% of your calls have the same prefix, basically. So having a really good, like really large KB cache is really important. But like most providers don't have the infrastructure to properly do it. And it's annoying. Yeah. And then training, which is another giant rabbit hole.
In-app infrastructure.
Especially with all the messages. It's a giant amount. We had to scale Redis recently, which you would expect Redis to scale with you, but it has its pitfalls as well. Yeah, it takes time.
So, what were the biggest technical wins then? If we've talked about the biggest technical challenges, what has been like a celebratory moment for you in this pivot on the engineering side?
We keep bringing inference down. We have the cheapest inference out there, which is why we can serve much bigger models, much better models. It's just because we ran Soup for, I don't know, $12,000 a month. If we ran on FAL, it'd be like $1 million a month. We just like, we've really cockroached our way with like, what did we use?
TPU spot instances.
TPU spot it was a V3, V4. It's like some hardware nobody wanted.
Back in the day, yeah.
And Eric and Tomo rewrote the whole thing in JAX to make it work. Yeah, it's just I think being able to cockroach your inference instead of like doing a lot of people do the thing where they build on top of provider, on top of provider, on top of provider, and then the fees just kill you. If you have any kind of like consumer level usage, that's one thing that we figured out how to do well.
So there was apparently a botnet attack that brought down the app at times. How did that change how you think about reliability and scaling?
So turns out there is like we so what happened is we basically went to number 4 in the App Store, and then we noticed like there's a bunch of weird signups from Ukraine and like Slovenia, and like what's going on here. So we were like mostly actually this didn't cause downtime, but this was actually like an interesting other issue for us, because we primarily like rely on SMS signer. Um, Turns out there's a thing called SMS pumping, which we were like vaguely familiar with, but it's basically a scheme where like some group has a giant phone farm somewhere and requests a bunch of verification codes, because like sending SMS verification codes actually costs like some amount of money, and they basically arbitrage how much it costs them to like solve a captcha in our app, for example, with how much of a kickback they get from like deals with phone providers that give them money if they receive an SMS. And turns out if there is like a bit of money to be made, they go to crazy scales really, really quickly. And it's kind of annoying to deal with. We
How much did we spend on Twilio?
probably we spent like 20K or something on this, so not the best, but we solved it. So
Yeah, that's annoying.
There are two things that are important, right? It's like we want inference is expensive, so you want to make sure that it goes to real humans. And spam sucks. Like the platform, like you go on Twitter today, is full of spam. It's full of bots essentially, and it's how do you find a way to operate the service? And we thought phones is the best way to do that, and I think phones really do help us keep a much better. Like, there's some countries that don't serve, and blah blah blah. We focus on America, or most of our users are, but even then, it's hard to protect yourself against these sorts of attacks.
if there is money to be made somehow, somebody's gonna write a bot to do it, and SMS is a like good attack surface, I guess.
Yeah. Well, people are going to people, I guess.
Yeah.
So, from the engineering side, how do you guys balance moving fast on product while maintaining stability when growth spikes?
App-wise, we have like a better track or test flight with people where we can just push daily updates and they just give us feedback on the Discord directly. It helps quite a lot actually, because we get feedback on bugs that happen, memory issues or general stuff, jank in the app that happens, and we can just fix it directly and move quickly, move every day. We push updates, and yeah, it's quite amazing how direct in contact we are with the community. It makes it just grow and we improve the app constantly.
We spend a whole day on Discord with like 14-year-olds.
Love that.
It's great. Like Tamo mentioned, like we have the test flight, and it's like you break the like tiniest thing in there. Like first of all, like it's kind of a status game to be in the test flight or not, which is kind of fun. But it just means that like people on test flight are like really, really engaged, and like we push an update 10 minutes after we release it on test flight. Like people are like, oh, what does this mean in the thing? Like, can you clarify? Or like this I don't know, I used the app with an iPad with a keyboard, and we changed it so we can have new lines now when you send messages, but that breaks sending, and like you have feedback of that within like 5 to 10 minutes after releasing the update, and it's just like it's nice because we can like iterate really, really quickly on the test flight and then just push out an update every week. It's stable, and that has been quite fun. So yeah,
And it's cool because I don't know, volume is great. It's awesome that we now have volume to be able to run A/B tests. We're just 3 people, right? It's like, but to be able to run A/B tests, to have the community tell us exactly what's wrong. I don't know. It feels very magical to be able to have that feedback loop. Most products people don't care that much about. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's really hard to get feedback, especially very fast, accurate feedback. So that is really impressive. Again, teenage girls are terrifying. And that's all. What are the most surprising product insights you've discovered recently?
I have one. Do you have one?
No.
Do you have one? Okay.
No.
Yeah, the onboarding one.
Yeah.
That was cool. So Tom and I were looking through onboarding yesterday, and we've been trying to improve the onboarding experience, like get to the aha moment fast. And we did this like large experiment, like 5 variants of like we sent you it this way. What were they?
Traffic there.
Yeah,
Regenerate the messages.
yeah, we pre-generate the first turn. You can pick from 3 stories. We send you to feed a lot of stuff, and none of them really did anything. And then we looked at what people were actually doing when they signed up, and they would go straight to search. Like they were actually very specific about the things that they wanted. And we were doing this like, yeah, I guess you don't know what you're doing. Here's A, here's B, but it's actually and these teenage girls are scary. Like I know what I want. I am rapid about it. I know what I need right now. And the insight was just give them more agency and faster to be able to get the experience instead of like the hand holding. Introduce yourself. Do this. Do that before.
Yeah, they don't need that.
Got it. Yeah. So that was the silly insight.
You guys are reminding me of my time as a terrifying teenage girl when I would get all A's in my classes somehow, but in those classes, all I would be doing would be hiding my phone under my desk reading fan fiction. That's literally all I do. People would still try and cheat off my tests, but I was reading I wasn't paying attention. I don't know how that worked, to be honest.
It's very interesting though, because I tell people about it. As in, you're clearly very intelligent, and our audience actually is more bookish, I think, than the average person. And so there's a connection to the because it's a reading experience. I still find it quite intellectual. There's the assumption that it's weird, it's just brain rot. Like it actually isn't. It's like people are going into these, the longest stories that we have. Some people play stories for 5 months. They're in the same story for 5 months. Every day they play the same story for 5 months. That's a lot of depth. And when you hear them talking about it, they're like, "Oh, I was a demon hunter, and then I escaped and became a baker, and I hid my identity, and then they discovered that I was a demon hunter, so I had to flee again." And you have these long arcs that are unrivaled in any other medium, just because it's too expensive to produce.
Mm-hmm. These girls know what they want when they want it. So I think that's a really interesting thing to, verify and come across. Small changes like message delivery that's faster or bringing back profile features have had measurable impact. How do you prioritize what to build exactly?
I think it's a mix of feeling of like what are the things that we want and that people tell us they want. I think that to go with the example of making messages faster. I think when Tom joined us, he tried the product and he's like, it's kind of slow. And then we played with it and we're like, you're right, it is kind of slow. What if we try to make it faster? It's a bit of work, but we just had the feeling that like latency matters. It's, internet 2.0, people always talked about latency. And it was true, as in like the messages sent just went way up at that moment. We started running sprints. We're adults now, and so there's a bit of that. A bit of it is related to the vision, as in like I always worry about we are building this business that grows a lot every month. Maybe it's a silly fear. I always fear that you can get yourself onto the wrong path at any moment if you're not aiming at making an entertainment machine. We invest considerable resources into it. Yeah, wishy-washy answer, but I think it's a lot of it. It's a bit of discipline, a bit of playing with the app and feeling, and then just literally listening to the Discord. We've tried betting against the Discord before because like we know better, blah, 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 and it's like it never works. When we removed character profiles, people hated it, and then we had to add it back.
Teenage girls know what they want.
They know what they want. I think it's true. There's always this thing that consumers don't know what they want. It's I think maybe that's true at like if you have 1 billion users or something, it's like every person on earth, you gotta be quantitative about it. I think, when you're still working on this like niche market, or I think they know what they want.
So what does your growth strategy look like going forward?
Make stories really good, make them easy to talk about. I think those are the two. Like that's our business plan. Really good is every great story starts with a great script. Automating and improving storytelling is very important. Making it easy to talk about. There's the the referral stuff that we're building, the share screen stuff that we're building. Going multimedia makes it always easier to share something, and that's how you win on socials and etc. But I think that's generally the two pillars. If you pattern match what this company is it is like Netflix. It is like, it is like YouTube. I think that's the way to see it. And it's like any other growth strategy would be too intellectual. Like YouTube wins because they have content and it's good. Netflix, Dito, and it's yeah.
Cool. So I have heard that you guys are hiring ahead of growth with a focus on visual storytelling and social platforms. Why is that so important for this product that is more of a tech space?
Our users hang out on social media. Like teenage girls, they're around there, and we should find ways to tell the story of why YN is great where they are. And so to me, the head of growth role is exactly that. It's like, hey, have you shown that you can make a great account? Like you have over 10,000 followers on TikTok or Instagram, and are you kind of type A? And you're really good at email. You're kind of a resourceful person. And I think you use those skills to essentially explain to the potential user what's the value of YN. Uh, Play this story, talk to this character, a great role playing app. All those possible stories. Tell it in the best way, and just find a way to like get the algorithm to put it in front of them. I think that's it. I think that's at least the rationale around it.
What do you think it will actually take to win this category?
Build the most entertaining thing out there. I think that's what it comes down to. We see like such a strong correlation in our metrics with just like story quality, abstractly speaking. And it's just like nobody has made it good yet. Like if you actually make it good, like make the storyteller actually like be on the level of like a top like 1% human, even like executing a story plan, I think you like this will grow rapidly. Then you expand your multimedia to like good voice to all of that. But if you've down the like core of like actually like creating engaging, interesting content, then I think this just like will go like will blow up in like at scales that like we can't like imagine right now. So yeah.
I mean, if you think about Fourth Wing, it's a new romance novel, sold millions and millions of copies over the past 2 years. I think they definitely made over the 100, 200 million in revenue just from that first 3-book franchise. It's like, that's the bar for great quality. And when things are great, like when great media is great, people just talk about it. Like, I'm sure you've watched a great TV show and you're like to your friend, have I watched this? Have you watched this? It's great. Like it imbues kind of when you tell someone about it, it makes you cooler. And so you talk about it and blah, blah, blah. I think that's the core thing. I think we win, great marketing, great storytelling at the convincing people to get the app is a part of it. But I think ultimately the reason, last month we grew a lot. We were number 4 in the App Store. And the reason for it is that there was a viral comment on TikTok of a user saying that the YN is the best. And it got 5,000 likes. So a lot of people agree. And that's it. It's like you can't fake making the product really good. If it's good, teenagers do share a lot and they'll talk about it. And yeah, so that's our core thing.
So, looking ahead, what are the biggest priorities for the next phase of YN?
I think is immediately is keep not going down, right? There's infrastructure stuff, getting enough GPUs, being able to scale. We were just 3 people, almost 200 million messages were sent every month in the app, right? It's like, it's a lot to serve. So doing that, it really matters. I think scaling training really matters. And then just making the app, we still don't have comments. We still don't have a For You feed, a personalized algorithmic feed. Search is still bad. The product is still rudimentary. So fixing that, I think, would be, it's one of those things that always pays off when you do it well. Yeah,
What does success look like for you over the next year?
I think if we keep our growth rate for the next year, I'll be very happy. It gets harder every month, right?
You always have churn that you also have to combat, which is higher at larger numbers. Luckily, not that high for us, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think if we do it, I think it'll be great. I think it's Yeah.
What does success look like over the next 5 years?
We've automated all of entertainment.
Wow.
I think that's it. I think that's what the entertainment machine means. I think it's scary, but I think our goal is always to build a media empire. I think that's the media empire. So every piece of fiction it can be made on YN, and it's better. It's the home to the better story. It's the next Star Wars is on YN. Next Harry Potter's on YN, and we have this sort of IP producing machine.
Wow. That's a really big, ambitious goal. Good luck.
I think we can do it. I really think we can do it. I think if you just keep pushing at the same thing, make stories better, make stories better, add more rendering, add more multimedia capability, you essentially get there.
Okay. Well, I wish you guys luck. Is there anything that I have missed asking you guys? Because I'm out of questions at this point.
I don't think so. I think
Okay. Great. Well, this has been really fun.
I had fun.
Great. So that's a wrap on this episode of 8 Spotlight. YN is one of those companies where the engagement alone tells you that something important is happening. From rapid pivots to viral growth to building entirely new forms of entertainment, you guys are pushing into what could be a massive new category. As always, I will be watching closely. See you next time.